Hello everyone and welcome to Evolution of Dragon Quest games. Dragon Quest is a 1986 role-playing video game developed by Chunsoft. The player controls the hero character, who is charged with saving the kingdom of Alfgard and rescuing its princess from the evil Dragon Lord. The player starts with a menu to begin a new quest, continue a previous quest. Dragon Quest II, Luminaries of the Legendary Line, was released in 1987. The game's story centers on the Prince of Middenhall, who is ordered to stop an evil wizard named Hargan after Hargan destroys Moonbrook Castle. On his adventure, he is accompanied by his two cousins, the Prince of Canik. Dragon Quest III, The Seeds of Salvation, was released in 1988. The story follows the hero who is tasked with saving the world from the archfiend Baramos. Gathering a group of companions into a party, the hero must travel the world. Dragon Quest IV, Chapters of the Chosen, was released in 1990. Dragon Quest IV offered several new features over the first three titles. While carrying on many of those introduced in the previous games, similar features included are the day and night cycles, the ability to travel via ship, and a flying vehicle, and the 3 levels of keys. Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride, was released in 1992. The game takes place over roughly 30 years of the main character's life, from when he is born through to when he gets married and has a family. The title introduced a gameplay dynamic in which monsters from random encounters may offer to join the player's party. Dragon Quest VI, Realms of Revelation, was released in 1995. The story follows the traditional Dragon Quest hero on a quest to save the world. In this particular installment, the heroes also have to endure the personal struggle of amnesia, as many of the main characters do not initially remember who they are. Dragon Quest Monsters was released in 1998. The game features the characters Terry and Millie from Dragon Quest VI when they were children. Before the events in Dragon Quest VI, Dragon Warrior Monsters is often compared to the Pokémon series due to their similar gameplay. Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past, was released in 2000. The game follows the hero and his friends as they discover secrets about the mysterious islands surrounding their home of Esther. Through some ancient ruins, they are transported to the pasts of various islands and must defeat evil in each new location. Dragon Quest Monsters II was released in 2001. The player can have 3 monsters out at a time, and the rest remain at the siblings' father's ranch to catch monsters. Players must encounter them and entice them by offering them food and treats, and at the end of battle, if it has been won over, will join the player. Dragon Quest Monsters, Caravan Heart, was released in 2003. When defeating monsters in Caravan Heart, the player can occasionally gain monster hearts, which can be used to merge into a monster for a new, more powerful form. Humans also fight in the battles with the monsters in this installment. Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King, is a 2004 role-playing video game developed by Level 5. Dragon Quest VIII uses cell shading for the characters and scenery, and is the first game in the series to have fully 3D environments and character models. The game retains most of the series' role-playing game elements. Dragon Quest, Young Yangus, and the Mystery Dungeon is a 2006 action role-playing game developed by Cavia. Game utilizes randomly generated dungeons and combat taken in turns. Players must fight through different floors of enemies until they reach a boss monster, which they must defeat to advance through the story. Dragon Quest Monsters, Joker, was released in 2006. The player controls up to 3 monsters that make up the party, and can issue them direct orders or set them to one of 5 AI settings. The main character does not directly participate in battles except for when the player uses items. Joker does not have random battles. Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of the Starry Skies, was released in 2009. The story follows the protagonist, a member of the angelic Celestian race, after a disaster in their home scatters magical fruits across the mortal realm. The game features a customizable player character, and the first to include a multiplayer mode. Dragon Quest Monsters, Joker 2, was released in 2001. This game features 2 new monster sizes, large monsters, which use up to spaces on one of the players to benches, and gargantuan monsters, who take up an entire bench on their own. The main character, who is henceforth referred to as the hero, Dragon Quest Monsters, Terry No Wonderland 3D was released in 2012. The player's team was limited to 3 monsters. The team limit was changed to 4 in the remake. The player is now able to move Terry around in a full 3D world. The Game Boy Color was only capable of displaying 2D images. Dragon Quest X, Rise of the 5 Tribes Online, was released in 2012. Dragon Quest X is set in the world of Astolfia, with the player character being initially human before an attack by Nelgal the Netherlord, which he forces their soul into the body of another race. Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Trees Woe, and The Blight Below is a 2015 hack and slash game developed by Omega Force. The game has a roster of 13 characters that the player can choose from, each having unique weapons and abilities. Some of these characters are fan-favorite Dragon Quest characters, but many other characters show up as NPCs.
But we better not let us steal the show.
Dragon Quest Builders is a 2016 sandbox action role-playing game developed and published by Square Enix. The game is set in Alfgard with players controlling the builder, who is tasked with rebuilding the world after it was destroyed. The game features a blocky aesthetic style, with gathering and building elements similar to games such as Minecraft. Dragon Quest Monsters, Joker 3 was released in 2016. Players will be able to ride on the 500 different monsters that populate the game world. The monsters come in either land, sea, or sky varieties, meaning that different types monsters are required to traverse different paths. Dragon Quest Heroes 2 was released in 2016. World exploration was changed to resemble the typical Dragon Quest experience. Players can move their party to visit towns, wander the world map, and initiate battle stages. Seamless random monster encounters may break up the pace between locations. Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age, was released in 2017, taking place in a world called Erdrea. The game follows the hero's quest to save the world from an impending darkness. Throughout the game, he explores challenges related to his prophesied luminary identity as he endures persecution from those who demonize him. Dragon Quest Rivals is a 2017 digital collectible card game published by Square Enix. This mobile game lets players create a deck of cards featuring characters and monsters throughout the Dragon Quest franchise and battle it out in turn-based combat with a variety of different strategies. Dragon Quest Builders 2 was released in 2018. The game features the ability for players to find materials and use them to construct buildings and other equipment. New features not found in the previous game include a fast travel function based on a retro-style map, an optional first-person perspective. Dragon Quest Walk is a 2019 geolocation-based role-playing video game developed by Colopal. The gameplay of Dragon Quest Walk is centered around interaction with various real-world locations in-game, with various monsters and characters from the Dragon Quest series being in the game. Dragon Quest Treasures was released in 2022. The player travels throughout the open world, which is a set of 5 islands on the back of a dead dragon. The player collects monsters, finds buried treasures, and builds a base to store the treasure in. The monsters each have one of 5 special abilities. Dragon Quest Monsters, The Dark Prince, was released in 2023. The player must obtain monsters, either through an impressive show of force, enticing them with meat, or hatching them from eggs, and then combine obtained monsters through synthesis in order to create a team powerful enough to overcome tougher foes. Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai is a 2023 console action video game. Infinity Strash takes inspiration directly on the original manga, while the other games are inspired by the recent anime adaptation. Infinity Strash is an action game in which the player can control characters from
perplexing challenge.
Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake is a full remake of Dragon Quest III in Team Asano's famed HD 2D style, which fuses high-quality pixel art with 3D models. The HD 2D remake offers a much modern vision of the original title with an expanded and much vibrant world, with additional scenarios. Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate was announced in 2021. According to Hurry, the game will have a darker tone, feature more meaningful choices, and overhaul the traditional Dragon Quest turn-based combat. The game will also be the first mainline game released after Koichi Sugiyama's and Akira Toriyama's deaths.